Hey guys, it's Gmgpulliamhhj and welcome to my healthy hair journey. And I wanted to talk a little bit about breakage. It happens to us all. It's just a part of having hair. You're going to have breakage at one point in your life. And more often than not, the problem will come up. And since I've been on my hair journey, I've had some major setbacks. I still have a patch of hair. Now mind you, my hair isn't a conditioner in my hair. And I have this whole little short patch of hair right here, which compared to this side, I choose not to cut it because I mainly bun. You can't tell. Or I'll tuck it behind my ear if I happen to have my hair down. For me, it's not that big of a deal. So back to breakage. You guys know the difference between shedding and breakage. Breakage is normally smaller pieces of hair, and it has no hair tag, no little white bulb on the end. Shedded hair is normally a longer piece of hair. Normally the length of that particular hair from root to tip will come out, and it'll have a little white tag, a little white bulb on the end. So what do you do if you happen to have breakage? Well, sometimes that's not all that easy to determine. In my experience, I'm looking at my notes, there are 4 things that will cause you to have breakage. Either you are in protein overload, you are in moisture overload, your hair is overprocessed, or your porosity is off. And you have to know how your hair feels, what your hair needs, in order to determine why your hair is breaking. As soon as I see 1 or 2 or 3 broken hairs, especially lately, because I've been in moisture overload, I'm finally out of it. I got into moisture overload from not being on my hair journey, and because I'm protein sensitive, meaning that my hair does not particularly like protein, I wasn't paying attention to my hair. So when you see your first signs of breakage, what I suggest that you do is a strand test. And to do a strand test, you want to take a shedded hair. Please don't pull one of your hairs out. And give the hair, put it between your fingers. See if I have a shed hair. Well, I don't happen to have a shed hair at the moment, but you want to put one strand of hair between your fingers, and you want to give it a tug. If your hair is perfectly balanced, and balanced for you and balanced for me is going to be different. This is how you have to learn your hair. What's the norm for your hair? So when your hair is not normal, you can tell. So if you take a shed hair and you put it between your finger and you give it a pull, it should have the elasticity of the hair, and you want to do this on dry hair. You should be able to pull a good little ways and then break. If when you pull it, it snaps, odds are your hair is dry and you are in protein overload. Meaning whatever products you use have way too much protein in them. Or you're using products that only have protein in them. Or you may be protein sensitive. If your hair is not giving a nice little pull, like my hair, I can do this too. Eventually it will break, but it has a nice stretch to it. When I'm in protein overload, it will pop. It will stretch just the tiniest little bit, and then that strand of hair will break. You can do the same strand test, and if the hair stretches and stretches and stretches, you are in moisture overload. protein overload and moisture overload can break your hair. Also, if your hair is over processed, which can be a little tricky because your hair can be perfectly balanced, but it's always dry because your hair is over processed, and you have an option. Now, we're all here on a healthy hair journey. For me, cutting my hair is not an option. When I started my healthy hair journey, I had over processed hair. I used to relax my hair from the root to the tips, which is why today my tips are the ends of my hair are very thin. And so instead of cutting off 6 inches of super thin ends, I don't know if you guys can tell right now, but I mean they are paper thin. I am slowly dusting. So my hair will grow an inch, I'll cut a 1/4 of an inch. Grow an inch, I'll cut a 1/4 of an inch. So I'm slowly getting rid of those super thin ends. There's nothing I can do to make that portion of my hair thick again. What we do here will eventually show here. So if your hair is stretching, let me go back a little bit. If you are in protein overload and your hair just pops, you need to switch to moisturizing products that have no protein in them. You should be able to feel your hair should feel dry and brittle if you're in protein overload. If your hair is over processed, it should feel dry and brittle. You need to use moisturizing products. If your hair stretches and stretches and stretches, you are lacking protein. You need to use products that have a high protein in them or a medium protein. I personally don't like to buy a lot of products, so if my hair, like I just got out of moisture overload, and so what I did is a hard protein treatment. I like to use eggs and mayo and oils. But I also have hair mayonnaise from Orr's Organic Root Stimulator line. It's your choice on what you feel is best for your hair. If the porosity of your hair, I also have been to where my porosity was off. And how you check the porosity of your hair is you want to take the same shed hair, and you want to float it in room temperature water. Put the hair in the water. What the hair will do, now when my hair is perfectly balanced, it will go right into the middle of the water and sit there. If your follicles are closed and not allowing any moisture to get into your hair shaft, it will float on top. If the follicles of your hair are stuck open, it will sink to the bottom. So what happens is it will suck the moisture in, but it's not retaining the moisture. Moisture goes in and it goes out. What I did when my porosity was off was I did a apple cider vinegar rinse. I used 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar and I think 2 cups of water, and I put it on my hair, let it sit a few minutes, and rinsed it out, and that corrected the porosity of my hair. Again, I prefer natural products, but if you want to buy a product that I would recommend will be Roux Porosity Control. I think it's ROUX Porosity Control. So you need to know your hair. You need to know what your hair feels like, how it normally feels like. You need to know what it feels like normally so you know how it feels like when it's off. I knew my hair wasn't in protein overload. I knew I wasn't in moisture overload. I am Tex-Laxed. I knew my hair wasn't over-processed. My hair is under-processed, which is what Tex-Laxed means. But my hair still felt hard and crunchy. And it dried really quick. My porosity levels was off. You can also use aloe vera juice to correct the porosity of your hair. So those things, if you remember those 4 things, it can help you to stop your breakage immediately. If you're in protein overload, you need to use all moisture products, no protein. If your hair is in moisture overload, you need to use all protein items. If your porosity is off, you can use Roux Porosity Control. or you can use aloe vera gel, or you can use apple cider vinegar mixed in water. If your hair is over processed, you normally need a good balance of moisture and protein. So keep those in mind when your hair is breaking. Also, if you're getting a lot of shedding, you can keep those facts in mind to determine why is my hair doing this. So I hope those tips helped you. They definitely helped me. In my opinion, those are basically the only 4 things that will give you breakage. I mean, I'm not a professional, and maybe there's other things out there, but in the 1.5 years that I've been on my healthy hair journey, those are the 4 things that I've encountered. All 4, my porosity being off, having lower high porosity, my hair being over-processed, being in protein overload, and moisture overload. So if you know how to fix those, then you know how to retain length, which is the objective of being on a healthy hair journey, to have healthy, long hair, however long you happen to want it. Doesn't matter, it is your preference. So I think that's it for today. My hair isn't detangled, but I'll show you my length. So just keep in mind that. I hope you guys can see. So that's my length. I don't know if you can actually see that or not. When I watch the video, I'll know for sure. Alright guys, take care, and I will see you all next video. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe.